Hi, welcome to this episode of The Daily. My name is Brendan Malone. There's been a lot of discussion in the media over the last couple of weeks about content providers such as Netflix, the streaming service, really cracking down on VPNs, people who use virtual private networks. Now, just a brief explanation of what this is all about. Netflix and other content providers restrict content, certain content, by geographical location. So some movies are only available in America while they're not available in Australia, for example. Now, people obviously who have got Netflix and want to see something that's available in America but they don't live there are using virtual private networks. And what virtual private networks do is it's a piece of software technology it's an app basically that you have on your computer that allows you to appear as if you are residing in, or you are currently located in the United States, for example, and then you can access the United States content. Now, it's a really intriguing issue for a couple of reasons. Number one is the moral question. You see, it's pretty clear cut when someone is pirating or they are taking something without paying for it when they should have actually paid for it, that clearly what's going on, whether they're streaming pirated content or downloading it, or whether they're copying it en masse and putting it onto DVDs or Blu-rays, there's something immoral going on there. That is the act of theft, okay? It's pretty clearly an act of theft when you take something from someone else that you don't have a right to take, okay? And so that's pretty clear. But in this situation, that's not what's going on. People are still paying Netflix the monthly fee that they pay to get access to the Netflix library. So the restriction really here is a purely arbitrary one, and it is simply based around contract rights and who has been sold the rights by the content creator in different countries. So it creates this interesting scenario in which a person is not actually stealing content because Netflix, the Netflix is still receiving money from that person who is viewing the content that Netflix makes available. It's just not made available in their location. So they've gone to another location where Netflix is operating, where the same fee is paid, and they're watching the content there. So that's an interesting part of the debate. What's even more intriguing, I think, is the strategy, or what I think is a lack of strategy that seems to be at play here by the content creators. There seems to be this mentality that we are still living in the 1980s where geographical restrictions are a very controllable and obvious reality for keeping a lid on these sorts of things. So, for example, once upon a time, you could restrict something that was a hard copy piece of media, like a Blu-ray or a DVD, to a certain region, and dedicated people might try and get a hold of it, and there might be some piracy go on, but it just wasn't that easy to access it. Okay, it was a lot of time, effort, and even money involved to get around that, those geographical restrictions. Well, that's not the case anymore. In the digital online age, everything that is digital and online is now available globally. That's the whole point. It's those restrictions are effectively, those borders, those boundaries are effectively stripped away. And so when you try and artificially impose them, and you try and, for example, Netflix has now talked about the fact that it has stopped allowing people, or is trying to stop people who are using virtual private networks from accessing content that it makes available. When you try and do those sorts of things, and there's been a lot of other examples of that recently, you're not actually being that effective. Instead, what happens is people end up going, well, I still want to see the content anyway. I'm annoyed about the fact that someone in America can see it, but I can't. So I will just go and watch it online on pirating websites. So I'll go somewhere where they offer pirating as a streaming service, or as where I can download the movie or TV show that I want to see and that I'm being told I can't get access to. That's the reality of the digital age. So it's very intriguing to me how this is all playing out, and it's going to be very interesting to see in the next sort of 5 to 10 years or so whether or not some of these content providers figure out that in actual fact they are creating an environment that is more conducive to piracy by really pushing these geographical restrictions, which really are quite arbitrary when you think about it at the end of the day, instead of actually trying to make the content available and charging people a fee to get access to it. It'll be very interesting to see where all this ends up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time on The Daily.